All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the presentation about University of Melbourne and AUG, the magicians behind all of your applications that are successful to University of Melbourne and other Australian universities. My name is Susan Renaud. I'm the Higher Education Counsellor, and my job is to introduce the people who actually make all the work happen and get you successful applications. I'd like to introduce first our first presenter, Louise Teow. She is the country representative on behalf of Malaysia, Brunei, and Singapore for the University of Melbourne, and she will be doing the primary part of the presentation. Joining her from AUG, which is the organization that smooths out the whole application process between KTJ students and Australian universities, are Nicole Chong and May Tan. They are the experts at AUG. They will be answering any questions you have for Miss Louise. So please put those questions in the chat, and they will be typing furiously to make sure you get the answers. If there's time at the end, then they will wrap up any questions that seem to be common that they want to make sure everybody's clear on in terms of what they need to do to make successful applications to the University of Melbourne. But let's get started. Ms. Louise Teow, we're so happy to welcome you. And for your information, Ms. Louise is in an internet iffy spot. So if you see her mouth moving but no sound, just take a breath and be patient. She's got it all together and it will all catch up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan. Hi, everyone. Good evening to everyone. And for those who celebrating Chinese New Year, Happy Chinese New Year. And thanks for spending your time an hour with us online. Appreciate that. Well, as Susan mentions, my name is Louise, actually based in Kuala Lumpur, but I work for the University of Melbourne. Today, I have my presentations, and I will walk together with you all about the Uni Melbourne's core structures, what we call it as Melbourne curriculums. And also we'll walk you through for some of the very important highlights about students' lives, definitely walk you through about the admissions requirements, etc. Right, so let's move on to the next slides. So this is a very good snapshot to let everyone understand where and the Uni Melbourne stands in the world's ranking. So a lot of the university actually will be referring to the popular Times Higher Education's World Rankings, as well as the QS Education's World Ranking. So this is a two very popular rankings to reflect the university's standing in terms of the reputations, in terms of the academic excellencies. So this is where Uni Melbourne stands. We are number 13 in the world according to the QS ranking, and that actually tells you that we are number 1 in the Australia. We are the highest ranking in Australian universities. Right, so I also wanted to move your attention to the middle where you can see number 8. So that's actually representing how Uni Melbourne standings in the world ranking as well. That's for the global employability. So that's very important to indicate that how our graduates being perceived by the employers, by the industry people, not just in Australia, but this is global. It means that outside Australia, how Uni Melbourne graduates can find jobs. Right, so that's a very important to actually assure you, just not Melbourne, just not Australia, but you can, with the Melbourne degree, you are actually welcome and to work different part of the world. Right, so we are actually the second oldest university in Australia, where we actually founded in 1853, where we have a good population of students in terms of 45% international students populations versus the remaining of 55% of domestic students. So talking about students mingling with people coming from different parts of the world, there will be more than 150 places, 150 countries, international students actually coming to Melbourne to study. And not to mention, they also have a great opportunity to mingle with the domestic students, where they're also coming from different backgrounds as well. Next slide, please. For those that have a chance to visit Melbourne, and for those that you have not yet visited Melbourne, so this is a very beautiful campus map to indicate where Melbourne is located. We have 6 campuses. So this is actually the Parkview, which is our main campus, right next to the Melbourne CBD. So that is actually referring to Melbourne City Centre, Central Business District, CBD. And we have actually a lot of the courses actually being offered in this main campus, in Parkview campus. Obviously, you do notice on the north, towards opposites across the Melbourne CBD, there's also another small campus, South Bank campus. So that's the campus where they offer creative arts, music, so those kind of like courses available in this South Bank campus. We are also very, I would say this is Melbourne advantage, and we are also very, very lucky to have that. The Melbourne Biomedical Precincts are actually just located right next to our main campus. So on your right-hand side, I believe we are on the same side, Melbourne Biomedical Precincts. So this is actually representing the efforts coming from Australia governments pulling together the research institutions, hospitals, as well as the university experts, and all together with the industry people coming together and to work on any research about biomedical, about health sciences, cancer, vaccines, all kind of innovations in relating to biomedical, this study area. So for those students who are looking for this biomedical, biotech, pharmaceuticals, as well as health sciences programs, you are actually located in a very beautiful place where this is a very strategic locations as well. Right, so next please, the next slides, thank you. So without further ado, let's talk about what's Melbourne's offer for the bachelor degree. Next slide, please. Thank you. For Melbourne bachelor degree, it is actually pretty straightforward, where we offer 9 courses. When we say 9 courses, actually offering 9 Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Biomedicine, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Design, Bachelor of Science, Music, Bachelor of Science, Fine Arts. So this will be the bachelor degree with more than 100 majors available. We do have 2 specialized bachelor degrees for Bachelor of Agriculture and Bachelor of Oral Health. So today, I was just talking more on the core bachelor degrees instead of the specialist bachelor degrees, because I do know that we don't have much interest in agriculture and oral health. But if you do have any questions about these 2 degrees, just pop them in the chat box, as what Susan already mentions. I'm happy to address questions. I also have Nicole and May, AUG's team, in the background to help me with the questions as well. So let's move on to the next slides. Thank you. Right. So Melbourne, we actually have a major course restructures. I think it's started in 2008. So that's where we have actually started with this Melbourne curriculums to introducing a very new learning approach, where a lot of time we're actually talking about you have a focus, you have a very in-depth specialized degree to focus and study in. But how about in the meantime, you also explore, stay yourself to keep your interests open, keep your options open as well. That's where we actually introduce this 75% in-depth knowledge of like depth versus a 25% of breadth subjects. So on your first box, you can see that arts, biomedicine, commerce, design, fine arts, music, and science. For this degree, they actually have this good, beautiful splits of 75% versus 25% of depth and the breadth subjects. So basically, students after finishing these 3 years, right, I will actually have a lot more examples in the course structures to introduce what is the breadth subjects. But I wanted to let you know, with this 3 years degree, you will have a job-ready degree. But if you are very into professional career, such like medicines, law, like VET, so that's where you do need to move it on to the professional master, which is on the second box. And some students are actually very into research. You are more than welcome to stay on and study with us. So that's where it's also located in the second box. You can see that research specializations. We have a lot of the specialist I will say like the expert professor. They will be the good supervisors for you in helping you in your research. So that's where you can actually progress to your career. But again, it is actually flexible. So let me just show you how flexible it is for Uni Melbourne curriculum. Next slide, please. All right, so remember the 25% of BREF subjects, what are they? I'm talking about subjects that are outside of your core disciplines. So remember, these are the subjects that are compulsory. They are actually part of your 25% in your 3 years bachelor degree. As well, for example, Bachelor of Commerce students, when I actually having my accounting and finance double major as in my 75%. All right, so I do have a 25% to fill in. So what I can do as a commerce student, I can do science, I can do music, I can do theater, I can do, design. So these are the subjects, for examples, that students actually can do by, planning according to your personal interests, or perhaps you wanted to keep your options broader, options open. So you may want to take law subjects, and perhaps you can become a lawyer, as in you're a Bachelor of Commerce graduate, but taking law subjects in BREF, and you can actually move it on to our professional postgraduate degree as to study Juris Doctor, JD, and that's where you actually qualify and then to practice as a lawyer afterwards. So this is actually allowed students not to actually fix yourself in just one career path, but you can actually make it very flexible by using your 25% of BREF subjects, picking up some of the subjects you really like and want to keep your options open and want to have a multiple, like career options. That's the perfect way to actually helps you to actually design your 3 years bachelor degrees. Next slide, please. So I have this course structure as an example. So this is a good example to actually showcase where students looking into professional degree, as I mentioned, professional degrees such like medicine, law, dentistry, including this engineering program. So students must continue with Uni Melbourne. So therefore, you are not going to finish just 3 years bachelor degree, but according to what is your professional career, and that's where you continue with Melbourne with a 2 years Master of Engineering in this example, or you can actually continue with another 3 years or 4 years to the other health professional degree or the other programs in a professional postgraduate degree, I mean. All right, so now let's look into this course sample as in Bachelor of Science. We have more than 40, we have, I think, 45 majors available. And Bachelor of Science is actually across health sciences major. They have engineering IT majors. Definitely, they have pure science majors as well as vets is actually under Bachelor of Science. So in this example, this is an engineering majors, mechatronics engineering. So in the first year, you can see there are some introductions, compulsory subjects in the light color, blue color boxes, like this is what we call core subjects. That's where the flexibility comes in. So let's say, I'm not sure actually which engineering stream, maybe mechatronics or maybe mechanical. I'm deciding, among these two. So the engineering and IT students actually share almost exact the same year 1 subjects. That's where they actually study introductions into engineering. They have some math subjects, calculus, you can see that. We can also have some physics subjects in year 1. So after doing this first year, you discover, oh, actually, I really enjoy, doing mechatronics instead of mechanical, for example. So therefore, in year 2, while I'm moving on into these engineering subjects, I actually can then declare, okay, so I want to do mechatronics, and that's where my majors comes in year 3. So year 3, you can see mechanical subjects comes in, modeling comes in. So while we are doing all these compulsory engineering subjects, you do notice there are some yellow and pink boxes over there. That's where science electives comes in, as well as the BREF subject comes in. So what is elective and what is BREF? Remember, I shared about BREF previously. So BREF will be the 25% subject outside of your major, outside of your core disciplines. So that will be the non-science subjects that will be BREF. All right, so this science elective, So this is the things that I want you to take away. A lot of the time we're talking about like you must do your elective that is relevant to your major, right? So that's what's elective about. But in Uni Melbourne, this is not necessary. All right. So you see, this is science elective. It's not engineering elective. So it's up to you as a person if you want to have a lot more elective in engineering, or you actually like the other kind of science, perhaps like computing, perhaps like I want to learn a bit of biology, or I want to learn about some genetics, psychology. Remember, they are all fall under Faculty of Science, right? So this is a science elective that you can actually cross. Again, that's a flexibility that Melbourne provided. So the science elective allows students to actually cross your majors. I mean, pick your subjects across the other majors, what I mean, all right? So this is where you actually expand your horizon again within science. So that's the elective that you should take. You can plan according, again, your interests. Perhaps you want to have a lot more options, then you plan accordingly for your elective as well. So sometimes there are too many flexibility, too many options for students get lost. Oh my, how should I decide which one to go? Can I try this? Can I try that? What if I don't like that? Can I change? So we have a dedicated team. We call it as, they are my expert actually. They are actually the course planning team, and they are actually the counselor to advise and sit down with the students together and advise students like, look, so this is what you want to do, right? So let's plan according what kind of subjects they are required. And if you have additional interest, you want to open up your options a lot more. Okay, so let's sit down together with the course planning team, the course advisor. All right, so they will actually plan according, plug in some subjects, put it into your timetable, and map it out something similar like this for your 3 years. So again, you do not need to stick to the plan if you have changed your minds in maybe like year 1 or year 2. So again, every semester, you can actually talk to the career, sorry, it's not career, but it's the course planning team to say that, can I, adjust or edit a bit, or, like take this out, take that in. Yeah, definitely. Just make appointments, talk to our career. Sorry, I keep talking about career because I actually have a slide about that. So I'm talking about like course planning team. They are happy to support students along your 3-year study to do your planning in your studies, right? So that's the first 3 years for the Bachelor of Science, major in mechatronics engineering in this example. So you can actually imagine something similar for Bachelor of Commerce, for accounting and finance. You also do not lock in yourself in first year. You actually declare the major, whether you want to do a major, a double majors, you actually declare that in year 2. Same goes for Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Design, Bachelor of Arts, etc. Okay. So I also actually want to just take a bit of time to talk about master. I know it could be sounds a bit far for you guys, like, I'm not sure, master or not, to study. Well, again, for professional career, a lot of time we actually do require students to continue in the postgraduate study for the professional postgraduate degree. So that's where the Master of Mechatronics Engineering comes in. You can see stats 2. And this is a 2 years Master of Engineering. And this actually very, very focused into the stream that you are looking at. Therefore, you do not see breadth anymore. Breadth is only available in the bachelor degree, in the undergraduate degree. But as in master, that's very technical, very focused in your streams. And there are a lot more hands-on, including like projects. We can see in year 2, it is actually compulsory, like core subjects. But definitely from bachelor degree 2nd year onwards up to your master, you actually do have the internships opportunity. All right, so you can actually apply for the internship subjects from your bachelor degree year 2 onwards, or maybe that's not enough for you. Yep, you're welcome to approach our career team. I will have a slide to talk about that later on, but you can actually ask them like, well, can I just, I have this winter semester in Melbourne, I'm not coming home. Can you help me to actually find out any opportunity to do my internships, during your break? Yes, you are definitely welcome to do that. Right. So I just pause here for a while. I'm not sure whether I run too fast. So just to see if there's any questions so far. I'm not sure, is there any questions in the chat box or okay, all good. I can see Nicole and May. Okay, all good. All right. Right. So yes, please, the next slide. Thank you. So this is a summary when I'm talking about professional career, the postgraduate degree. So this is how it looks like. All right. So for architecture, the first box, 3 years Bachelor of Design, having a major in architect. All right. So it's a must, compulsory. Okay. So to continue with a 2 years Master of Architect, altogether, that's 5 years. All right. So the same goes for engineering. So it's 5 years programs altogether to graduate as a qualified engineer. All right. So dental surgery as well as medicine is actually longer. So for dental surgery, students start with Bachelor of Biomedicine. All right, so there will be some subjects like prerequisite subjects you do need to complete in your bachelor degree, and therefore you will be eligible depending on your, your first 3 years degree, the results. You do need to go through some interviews, and also some tests, definitely. And therefore, then only you'll be shortlisted and being offered for a place. So that will be the Doctor of Dental Surgery. It's a 4 years programs. So all together to study dental surgery, or normally we say dentistry. So that would be 7 years altogether. As for law, yeah, I know it's very surprised. Maybe for a lot of you, it's like, oh my God, it's 6 years in Melbourne. Yes, I know. Right. So if you recall earlier, I had this example for you all. Like we welcome students coming from different bachelor degree, different background to actually join us for the Juris Doctor, JD. That's where we do see our students from Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Design, not to mention Bachelor of Science as well. They're coming from different majors, but together with the breadth subjects, the 25% of subjects that outside of their discipline, they actually discover that, oh, wow, why don't I just combine my professional, knowledge in accounting and finance, or maybe in engineering? I do want to become a consultant, to Google or to some other like Big Four company, by using my expertise. I combine two. I have my law, the knowledge of law. I have my knowledge in business, and I will be a perfect consultant for them, the Big Four. I mean, when talking about Big Four, it's something like company like Deloitte, KPMG, that's where we actually name that as Big Four. Yeah, so to study law, definitely welcome students coming from different background. We do not restrict students, but it's just that you can see that it's much longer than the standard Bachelor of Law degree in the other university. Next slide, please. All right. So medicine's very similar to dental surgery. So it's 7 years altogether. Bachelor of Medicine, sorry, what I'm trying to say. Bachelor of Biomedicine, they have prerequisite subjects. As I mentioned, it's not only just helping you to progress to doctor of dental surgery, but it's also keeping your options open for Doctor of Medicine. It means that you have 1 degree in Bachelor of Biomedicine, you actually have 2 options to apply for the professional postgraduate degree, whether it's medicine or dentistry, or some other programs, even like for psychology, for physiotherapy, for example. Yeah, so that's so important to have the prerequisite subjects to complete in Bachelor of Biomedicine, and that's where you're actually having 1 key to open a few more doors for your options. Right, so next to the second box is psychology. This is super popular for students to study in University of Melbourne. If I'm not mistaken, Melbourne is the first university to teach the subjects of psychology. So we are I think we are the oldest university to teach psychology in Australia. Yeah. So students have options whether to study psychology from Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Biomedicine, or Bachelor of Science. So there is no different treatments whether, science students being preferred versus art students for psychology. No, that's not the same. We do not differentiate students. As long as you actually studied an accredited psychology major, whether you are coming from Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Biomaths, Bachelor of Science, you have the equal chance to progress and to study Master of Psychology. And ultimately, you become a clinical psychologist. You can then practice in Australia or some other country if you want to. So teaching is actually a professional career in Australia. It's actually required, license. That's where you're also having like 3 + 2 years, altogether 5 years to become a professional, a teacher in Australia. And this is the last box will be vet medicines. Vet medicines, actually, to be honest, you also have 3 options: Bachelor of Agriculture, Bachelor of Biomaths, or Bachelor of Science to study. And then you progress to Doctor of Vet Medicines. Personally, I do encourage students to look just into Bachelor of Science. Why? You do notice that in Doctor of Vet Medicines, there is a 3-4 years. If you notice that, it's like, how is that typo? Or is that like how it works? 3 to 4 years for Doctor of Vet Medicines. So Bachelor of Science, they provide students an opportunity to go for an accelerated pathway. It means like it's a fast track to study a 3 years Doctor of Vet Medicines. Therefore, you will finish in 6 years altogether. If students coming from agriculture, Bachelor of Biomedicines, and you study vet majors there, you do not have this fast track available, and you must study the 4 years. It means that it's altogether you study about, the 7 years to become a vet. So if there's any students interested about vet medicine and how that fast track, the accelerator pathway looks like, just feel free to, ask questions afterwards. I can elaborate, I can explain a bit more over there, right? Okay, let's move on. Perfect, thank you. So we have talked about the study options, study degrees, subjects, and I think a lot of students also looking into like, then how about the life outside of the classroom, right? So I'm not expecting myself to just study and study and study in Melbourne. So what else Melbourne can offer? All right, so let's go for that one. So for undergraduate students, particularly for international students, you have a lot of supports from Melbourne. We actually have a dedicated international supports team to take care of international students coming to study in Melbourne. We do understand that you have to, handle a lot of things while you are actually in a younger age, moving to a place that you do not have anyone that you know, and it's a place that you maybe not familiar. So that's where there's a dedicated team to support students, not just about well-being, but also like we have counseling team. We also have students like talking to us, like let's say they do need support, like I'm actually not feeling well, I'm sick, but I do not know where to get a doctor, or where should I go for the clinic? How can I claim my insurance, for example? So that's where you actually can reach out to the team, and they're more than happy to help you. Right, so we have mentoring programs, Melbourne Plus, practical experience that's actually referring to internships, etc., etc. There are a lot of experience. I can say that if you actually proactive, you are not shy, you actually go and knock the door. Hey, hi, can I just speak to someone? I do need a bit of help. How can I get my resume review? How can I actually apply for an internships? We actually even help students to get a part-time jobs. But we do ask you, can you speak out? Can you come to our office? Can you approach us? So therefore, we do know that, you need help, you need supports. And that's where the experience, you can actually enrich your Melbourne experience when you're studying with us. So talking about mentoring program, I do have next slides to talk about. Well, we have a lot of mentoring programs. So there's one mentoring programs I do want to highlight. So perhaps I can have the next slide, please. Oops. All right. So I think I have edit my slides. I'm sorry. Now I remember. Okay. Can I just bring back the previous slides, please? Thank you. Right. So mentoring programs, let me just verbally explain how it works. We do have these Melbourne peer mentoring programs. That's for the new international students to join, and it is compulsory. So what is this Melbourne mentoring programs about? We do understand that, when you do not have friends, you feel lonely, maybe you're also homesick, you have a lot of emotions to deal with, and you do need to talk to someone. Maybe you feel shy to talk to a staff, someone older than you, like, I'm not comfortable yet, to share my experience. So we have this peer mentoring program. That's where we actually assign you in a group. They are all new students. They are first time coming to Melbourne. They are all undergrad students. All right. So you are actually in a group, and you have your senior from the same program. Let's say you are like art students. All right. So all the art students, you are in the same group, and where you actually have your senior, maybe they are like a Bachelor of Arts students in year 2 or year 3. And that's when you're actually being, like take care of, I would say, by the senior. So this is actually trying to help you up a little bit to start up with, like, to build the friendships. So the mentor, actually the senior, will take you around to show that, oh, okay, so if you need some like bank services, where to go for that, where's the nearest ATM machines, for example, and that's where you can actually get your grocery, for example. So this is actually some of the very practical tips, and that's where, you can join groups, and then you have your ads all together. You can chit chat from there and start to build relationships, friendships from there. So you actually keep in touch regularly in the whole group, and this actually continue, and you actually more than welcome to continue more than the 1 year. So normally this mentoring programs actually last minimum for 1 semester or up to 1 year. But again, students actually easily establish a lot more friendship afterwards. Peer mentoring is very, very helpful, that we actually can see that for first year students particularly. There's also another mentoring programs I just wanted to highlight as well. So if you happens to came across, we just renamed that mentoring programs. So it has become academic mentoring programs. Previously, it will be like academic advising program. So what is this academic mentoring program? Well, other than we have peer mentoring, we also make it compulsory that when in your second semester in your first year, we will assign you with one of the academic staff. It can be a teaching specialist, a professor, for example. So you have one-to-one sessions, have that half an hour or up to 1 hour, up to you. So you actually have one-to-one sessions to talk to the professor. Students get nervous, like, I'm still not sure yet, what to talk about, what kind of topics. Any topics. Our professors, some of them, they're actually very, very friendly. Some of them, they can be very, like strict, but they're strict in a good way. It's just that this is a very good opportunity to build connections professionally. So what it means is that, remember, when we're actually having our bachelor degree, and that's where the transcript shows what you have studied, but what else you actually can tell your employer. So the professor that knows you throughout, starting from your second semester, first year, until you graduate in year 3, this professor stick with you 2.5 years, you see. So he or she is the best person to write the recommendations letter, the referee letter, to talk about what is your, communication skills, what is your personal traits, how you can have a very good teamwork, how you can fit into this Australian culture, coming to like work culture, for example. So that's where you have your professor to talk all sort of your positive traits, positive skill sets you have developed throughout that 2.5 years. Right. So this is the academic mentoring programs, and it is mandatory again. And that's where you can see we have a lot of touch points to support you. It's not that, you just come to study with us and bye. No, not at all. So we actually, help you throughout the first year, second year, and third year. All right. So let's talk about Melbourne Plus. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is a program. we have introduced where we have 4 pillars over here. When I say 4 pillars, actually it refers to the first one is people leaderships. The second one is community engagement. The third one is sustainability advocacy, and also the innovations as the last one. So this is what it means that a lot of students actually have different focus in the area they want to develop professionally. And in these 4 pillars, they actually have modules. They also actually have some workshops. They are all free, by the way. So once you actually complete all these, you must complete actively, all right? It's not that you passively, you just sign up, you're not coming, you are not participating in discussions, you might not get the recognition certificates, all right? So what I'm trying to say is that with these 4 pillars and those modules and workshops and a lot of discussions involved in that, you can actually being recognized professionally by Uni Melbourne. There's an endorsement job. All right, so that's where you have a digital certificates where you actually can put on this the platform what we call LinkedIn. Not sure whether you're familiar with that. So that is actually a platform for professionals to showcase your experience, to showcase your skill sets, to showcase what you have done when you are in your universities. So this is where Melbourne endorsed curriculum outside the classroom where students can actively participate to build their interests and skill sets. And that's the 4 pillars to go through. Over here, if you would like to have a better idea, like what are they and how it looks like, actually, I always like to use these students where I know him for quite a while. His name is Ocean Vong, V-U-N-G. Ocean is, O-C-E-A-N, and Vong, V-U-N-G, if I'm not mistaken. He's actually originally from Macau. He studied with us for Bachelor of Commerce. He completed double majors. I think one of the majors is in management. And now he actually continued with us in master program in management as well. So Oceans, he has utilized all our support services, and he has been very active, in mentoring programs in Melbourne Plus. You can see that if you go to LinkedIn and search Ocean, you can see like, wow, beautiful. It's like a perfect resume, I would say. Internships, study abroad experience, and also Melbourne Plus certificates. And he is also our very proud student ambassador. Yeah, so if you have time, if you have LinkedIn account, you can just have a look into Ocean profile, right? Let's go to the next slide, please. Right, I think I have a video clip. I hope there's like video and sound. So we actually interview students after they have participated in Melbourne Plus to see, what they say about the program. So perhaps you can just click play that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Shall we move on to the next slide, please? Right. So this is the fabulous career team in Melbourne and the services they provide. It can be one-to-one support, and it can be also a group counseling, for example. So, starting from very basic, like, talking about like how you actually can craft your CV into the Australia, into the Melbourne context, and also how you can prepare yourself for interview. Understand about like the Australian slang, for example, and also to talk about like the working culture in Melbourne, etc., etc. So I have this amazing career team back in Melbourne. They are very happy to support students in, there are also a lot of like free online platforms. It's just available for Melbourne students only. Well, if you go to the website, there's a QR codes and that's the website you can actually go through. I'm not sure, but I don't think we can actually look into details, but they will have some brief information about like, well, what is this smart resumes? Basically, they will have like AI at the background where you can actually upload your CV in just maybe a split seconds. They will come back to you and say, they will mark, your CV and they give you points they will have like red color highlights. So like, look, this is the area where the industry people is looking into, but you are lack of that. So you need to improve it. They actually give you points, like maybe like 20 points, or you're way below, like what is the passing points? So Smart Resume is actually very beautiful, the AI tool to use. Melbourne students are free to use that. A lot of time, this is where you can first craft your resume, and then you can actually make appointments with the career counselor, whether it's one-to-one or group counseling. That's where you can get a more customized advice and to beautify, to make your CV a lot more better. Right, next slide, please. Yes, I also mentioned about the counseling psychological services that is provided to Melbourne students, and they are all free. We are taking very seriously about how our students' mental health, our students' well-being while they are in Melbourne together. So we actually have all sorts of services provided, free workshops. You are welcome to attend. There are also a lot of like talks, a lot of like services provided all year round. They are also having like 24/7 health crisis service where you actually can just quickly phone call if you really need to speak to someone, or maybe you notice someone do need some immediate support. Yes, there will be like phone call available, and professional psychologists and counselor available to speak to. Next slide, please. So Melbourne, I mean, the city of Melbourne, that's where you actually, study, and you can actually enjoy a vibrant student's life in the city of Melbourne. Just to promote a bit of the city, if you notice, Melbourne, the city, actually has been voted as one of the most livable city in the world. A lot of time you can see they are in the top 2, top 3. In general, Melbourne's pretty safe, very safe. I actually walk myself when I was there, like I arrived like maybe like 9 o'clock, like my night flights, and then I head out to get something to eat. There are some like Japanese cuisines like open up like 24 hours. I'm very surprised. I was like, oh, midnight. Oh, sorry, it's not 24 hours. It's until like midnight, 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. But it's just good to get some hot food or something. And personally, a bit of common sense. Don't go for the dark alley or, like something, just be cautious a bit. But otherwise, it's pretty safe in Melbourne. A lot of people walk, a lot of people cycling, definitely public transport available. As for these apps that you are looking at it right now, the Safe Zone. So this is the apps that you can use when you're on campus, on the Parkview main campus, as well as the other campuses in Melbourne campus. When you download that, it's actually a lot of services you can use for free. For example, if you actually study for your exam, during the exam periods, you are studied late in the library. So maybe like 10 or 11 p.m. at night, you need someone to escort to walk you back to your accommodations nearby the campus. So you can actually make an appointment through this app, and there will be like security officer show up. I mean, let's say 11 p.m. So yeah, so there'll be one officer, security officer show up and to escort you back to your accommodations. This by appointments, but there are a lot more features, services that students actually can use throughout these Safe Zone apps, and it's only available for Uni Melbourne students. Right. So I have a few more slides, but very quickly, I know the times is coming up to me. So this is Students' Union. Students' unions actually the organizations run by students for Melbourne students. And that's where you can actually have a lot of like clubs, a lot of society, Melbourne sports. There are so many things that you can do, just not about study. Yeah, can I have the next slide, please? So this is just a few snapshots. I put it out. You can see easily from music, from dance club, from clubs coming accordingly to your interest, like journalism. For example, we do have Coffee Appreciations Club, which is not here. We have also clubs for dedicated students coming from dedicated country. For example, you can see Malaysia at the last row at the bottom on your right-hand side. You can see MOMU, MOMU. Yeah, so MOMU is for Malaysian students, but they do have Singaporean students, the other students coming from different countries joining them. So Malaysians for Melbourne University is one of the active students club, and they organize a lot of events, activities on Melbourne, on campus, even virtually as well. So any one of you, if you're interested to look at what they are doing, what are they doing, look it up, Momu in Instagram or Facebook or something. You can see a lot of posting over there. So all I want to say is that these more than 200 students clubs, it go across interests, religions, countries, your nationality. You can actually join clubs as many as you want, as long as you have a good time management, you know how to balance your study and your students' life. We don't restrict students like, oh, you can just join 1 or 2 clubs. No, we don't. So it's really free for students to join. A lot of time, for example, I know Momus, actually they have some freebies giving out throughout their activities. They even have something like a barbecue night for their member, and just I don't think you need to pay anything as a member. And then you can actually have like an Aussie barbecue during, the break, or maybe they will have the welcome, like a freshman welcome night or something, so there are a lot of things to do in Melbourne. Can I have the next slide, please? For those that love sports, Melbourne sports, we have quite a few. Just a snapshot of this. We're coming from tropical country, hot and warm. So let's do something very different, going from skiing, for example. Okay, right. You can go for sailing, like some sea sports, for example. Definitely, if you like to continue your badminton, yes, we have badminton. There's one student actually pointed out, oh, you have this dragon board? I was like, yeah, it's a sport in Melbourne. So yeah, it's very interesting. We have some very interesting sports. For example, for Harry Potter fans, I do not know any of you very, very into Harry Potter. We have sports for Quidditch. Yeah, so you hear me correctly. Yes, we have a sports Quidditch. And we also have, like, talking about the students club just now, we also have a club for Harry Potter fans. I think it's called Potter Hates, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right. So Harry Potter's fans, really, you have the most. The sports, the clubs, and you have this beautiful architecture building from my background to enjoy with. All right, so I think that's pretty my last 1 or 2 slides. Thank you very, very much for paying attention and listening to me. Any questions, feel free to just pop it into the chat box. I have my email address published here. Just let me know.
Louise, thank you so much. The information was excellent. It hit all the key things that we've been talking about for their entire application process. And I just want to emphasize for all of you students who are listening, Melbourne University is a wonderful mix of the flexibility of the US university system, where you try out a lot of different things, but with a fixed finite program like the UK system. And the nice thing is it's 3 years only, with excellent studying beyond that. The life in Melbourne, academically and socially, is vibrant and dynamic. I think, Louise, you completely captured that in your presentation. And I hope, students, you will think long and hard about making your life at this point as easy and as happy as possible, and consider Melbourne Uni. Nicole and Maeve, did we have a lot of questions? Did I forget anything that I need to mention?
No, I think Louise has covered most of the things that the student need to know. And well, if anyone have any question, can really feel free to let us know, and we probably can address now, since I think we have a little bit of time left.
So students, if you want to put questions in the chat, feel free to do that. If you want a copy of this presentation, send me an email and I will download it as a PDF and send it to you with all of the copyright restrictions so that you can't pass on the information or sell it. It's Melbourne Uni and Miss Louise's information. And if you need to know how to contact AUG because you're thinking about immediately trying to apply, then have a conversation with me, either in my office or through email, and I will give you their contact information. Making an application to the University of Melbourne or Australia is nothing like the UK or the US in every single way that's good and wonderful, and you will have a fantastic time.
Thanks, Susan. Not sure, is there any questions? Anyone just open up, turn on your mics to ask questions. Don't be shy, or, just post any question in the chat. We are here to, just answer any questions you have.
So I have a question for you, Louise.
Sure.
I've got a fair number of students who talk to me about careers in medicine or dentistry. Is there a kind of cap or quota on international students who want to study in those programs, or is it open if they meet the requirements?
Yeah, so for Doctor of Dental Surgery and Doctor of Medicines, they are quota program. So meaning there will be actually X number of places reserved for international students. And we have, I recall my memory correctly, for medicines, we have about 65 places roughly for international students. So I understand it is actually quite a good number. I mean, a lot of universities actually offer medicines, but they do not offer up to like 65 places for international students. Yeah, so we are actually quite good with that to help international students to study medicines. For dental surgery, I guess it's more or less about that figure, maybe 50, 60 places roughly. I do need to have like check the exact one, but yeah, we do have a good number reserved for international students. And coming into like how students actually, get secured. So talking about Bachelor of Biomedicine, and remember that I say like there's one key you can use to open a few doors. That's actually referring to Bachelor of Biomedicine. You study the prerequisite subjects in the 3 years, and you're having a major in biomedicine, like genetics, biochem, like pathology, for example. These are the majors. And then you actually apply to Doctor of Dental Surgery or Doctor of Medicines. The thing is, we do have a very healthy record of progressions that we can see from Bachelor of Biomedicine students, their progress to these two very competitive programs. I would say it is actually because a lot of times students actually get guidance and support when throughout the 3 years when they are very, fixed that, okay, I want to, study medicine, I want to study dental surgery. They get supported throughout the journey. So therefore, it increases the chances of being selected and to be considered for the place for the Doctor of Medicine and Doctor of Dental Surgery. Yeah, but again, it's not guaranteed because they are quota program. Thanks for the questions. Well, I do have questions for I think we have 16 people attend from KTJs. I do have a questions for 16 people. Like, do you know what is the admission requirements for University of Melbourne? Look, I do not have a slide here, but actually expecting someone who's like, asking question, hey, I want to know what is the A-level requirements? Hey, I want to know, do you need English proficiency test? Can I use my IGCSE English subjects? So I'm expecting someone ask me about that, but seems like everyone pretty quiet. Right, so might as well just like, okay, I will just be very generous. Let me just share with you. For a lot of bachelor degree in Uni Melbourne's, we are actually pretty straightforward. we are just looking at A-level, the result. So the best 3 A-level subjects. So say, for example, you are looking for commerce, for business, all right? For Bachelor of Commerce, right, we look at the best 3 subjects. So it must be the 3 subjects, it must be including your math at the A2 level, all right? So the other 2 subjects, it can be any subjects, economics, or, you know, if you have science subjects, that's fine. All right. So if you do not have English, A-level English in AS level or A2 level, therefore, it's a must. You need to take one of the proficiency tests, English proficiency test. For example, TOEFL, IELTS, PTE academic. All right, so this is given that you do not have English in your A-level, AS level, or A2 level. But let's say you have your English paper already, and I completed in AS level. I got a grade C. Can I use that to satisfy the English language requirements for you, Melbourne? The answer is yes. All right, so there will be a lot of questions asking about like, how about I have my, you know, O-level, the IGCSE English or SPM English, for example. I got A or maybe A star. Can I, you know, get the English requirements waived? The answer is no. So we do require the A-level, the English must be the year 12 equivalence level. So for IGCSE, no, it's not year 12 equivalent. So therefore we cannot accept the O-level or IGCSE English subjects. All right, so that's a very quick one. I mean, there's a lot of like requirements for the other programs, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Commerce, you know, prerequisite subjects, and also like, you know, whether it's 3As, whether it's AAB. So I'm not sure like what is, I mean, the 12 students, you know, I'm not sure what is your interest. So if you have any specific questions or admissions, feel free to ask AUG or ask Susan, all right? I think there's a chat questions in the chat box. So let me just read it out. How easy is it easy for international students to find work placements after their 3rd year of medicine? What proportion struggles to find a practical placements? So this is talking about Doctor of Medicine. Is that correct? Because we do not offer Bachelor of Medicine, MBBS, you see. So Doctor of Medicine is a 4 years program, right? So technically speaking, in the 1st year, 2nd semester onwards, students has been having their clinical placements already. So throughout the 4 years, they do have a good balance of research components, coursework study, and also clinical placements from medical students. So for international students, after having complete the 4 years program successfully, they can actually apply to find like what I call, this is housemanships. You know, that's the term to use in Malaysia. So students can find housemanships if they want to have that in Melbourne or some other part in Australia. So the medical, we have the school, the faculty, they actually have a team to actually help students with that. Again, because this is a lot of like changes in terms of the government policy, how they review that, how they actually can, you know, allowing international students to stay on and to continue their internships, housemanships, I mean. So I cannot say that is guaranteed, but we do have international students actually successful, complete the housemanships in Australia, in Melbourne, and actually practice afterwards. Yeah. I hope that's answered the questions. Yeah. Is there any questions? I'm just quickly go through the box.
Louise, there's another question for a British passport holder, is it required to complete an English language competency test like TOEFL or IELTS for Melbourne Uni?
Sorry, Nicole, I lost you a bit. My internet not so great. Would you mind to repeat the questions?
Yeah, there's another question in the box. For a British passport holder, is it required to complete an English test for application to Uni Melbourne?
Good questions. I do want to understand for the students with a British passport, like where do you study your IGCSE? Is it overseas or do you study your IGCSE in UK? I mean, that is GCE already. So it makes a difference whether it's GCE or IGCSE. So it depends. But we do not actually look at a passport, but we look at where you complete your O level. You know, so let's say you complete your O level entirely in UK and you come to KTJ to complete your A level. So you do not need to take the English proficiency test. However, I do see students, Australian passport holder, US passport holder, yes, British passport holder, and some of the English speaking country passport holder actually study in KL, I mean in Malaysia, or perhaps in Singapore. For them, because they complete the O level, the IGCSE in overseas, so therefore they must take the English proficiency test if they do not have the A level English subjects. Right. So I hope that's clarified your questions. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the good questions. Yep. Good questions. Any more I can help you with?
Okay, Louise, it's almost 5 after 9.
Right, yeah.
I
Oh,
want to give
yeah.
your voice and your throat a rest because I bet you're doing this again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Thank you again so much for all of the information, for your convincing words. I want to go back to university right now, and I want University of Melbourne. So every time I listen to you speak, you sell me on it. I just got to figure out how to make it work in my life.
Thank you for your kind words, Susan. You're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time, and thanks for KTJ. Thanks for AUG team, fabulous team. Thank you, everyone. I shall let you go. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Louise. And Nicole and May will be in touch, as always, with 1,000,001 questions. Thanks for your time.